So it's wonderful to speak with you, Peter. I'm
Thank
excited
you.
to do this interview, but just before I started recording, you were telling me about a really interesting interview that you
Y-
did. If you could give me any details about that.
Yeah, I mean, a long time ago, Ian Curtis brought his best friend along, who was the best man at his wedding. He's a guy called Kelvin Briggs. And I became friends with Kelvin, and Kelvin was a financier, and he actually helped me finance my recording studio, my
Hmm.
24-track recording studio in Rochdale. He also paid for a few cars for me, all done on normally I wouldn't be able to get finance, but because he was Ian's best friend, don't tell anyone, he got me the finance. And yeah, we had a great relationship then. And then when I moved out of Manchester, I'm about 11 miles away from Manchester in a place called Alderley Edge. I was walking my dog one day around the allotments in the park, and I thought, that guy looks familiar. And it was Kelvin. He'd
Oh, wow.
moved to the same area as me. So we got to know each other on outside music, if you like. And yeah, we've been, talking to each other for ages. And the thing that fascinated me was that when Ian died, his wife gave Kelvin, who was his best friend, his record collection. And I kept saying, wow, we should do this is what podcasts were made for. We should do a podcast and an interview about his record collection, because Ian was very generous with his records and he educated me and Barney very much so. Like, for instance, when everybody said we sounded like the Doors, and Barney and I had never heard the Doors, and he went, "I'll get you a record," and he brought the next rehearsal. He brought a vinyl record of the Doors for me and Barney each, and we went away and listened to it and thought, "Oh my God, we do sound like the Doors." So we actually started playing Riders on the Storm in our set as a laugh, and nobody noticed.
Nobody noticed.
It
That's
wasn't one of
hilarious.
our songs. So yeah, so Ian was very generous with his records, and the fact that Kelvin had his record collection, which included the record that he played when he left us, the Idiot by Iggy Pop.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I've been promising myself to do this interview with him because he's a really nice guy, and I've just managed to do it before either of us, shake off this mortal coil. I've actually got it down. We videoed it, a wonderful 2.5 hour chat about me and him, about what Ian was like growing up, what
Wow.
he was like in the group, and everything that we knew and have shared. And in between, we played Ian's records, culminating at the end, which the record that was playing when he sadly decided to leave us. So yeah, to hold that record in my hands was the strangest feeling that I have had in a long time. And it had never been out of its sleeve since the day it was put back in when the house was cleared. So yeah, that was a real, for me, that was a moment, and yeah, we talked about him growing up, what a wacky character he was all through his life. We talked about how, what the future may have been like, etc., etc. So it was wonderful to actually get it done. And I've just been doing some photographs to sort of illustrate in the video while the music's playing. So yeah, I'm just sort of finishing that off, which I'm looking forward to. I don't know what the hell we're going to do with it, but I'm sure it'll appear sooner or later.
I'm getting chills just I mean, you could see my reaction when you were telling
Mm.
me about that. Like that's got to get out there. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, the fact that I've been promising myself so long to do it, and life gets in the way of many, many things, doesn't it? So
absolutely.
yeah, it was wonderful to actually sit there with him and get really sort of intimate and detailed with what Ian was like growing up, and what he was like as a teenager, because Ian, he wasn't far out of being a teenager when we lost him. So Yeah, it's good. I mean, I was so pleased when I watched it back, because literally we didn't have to edit anything. It was just a chat between two old blokes that you know, knew a great geezer. So it was, yeah, it was as simple as that. Yeah, that was lovely. So I mean, you know, again, as I was saying before in another interview, you know, my life deals a lot with the past. It deals a lot with the present, and you know, hopefully the future. And I always count the audience as, you know, people who are just like me, who love the music and want to appreciate it going forward. And yeah, so yeah, I feel I'm in great company.
So that's why, I mean, you do Peter Hook and the Light and you revisit all this great material because there's so many fans who want to hear you play it.
Yeah, and also because, you know, the other band members wouldn't play it. So
Really? I
yeah,
mean,
I mean, they wouldn't.
obviously,
They do now, because I think that they've thought that I'd stolen it. So I think this is their way of saying, "Oh, it's ours as well." Even though we never played it in New Order before when he was here,
oh,
we're now playing it because, you know, because we're nice guys or whatever.
you
So
mean
yeah,
when you were in New Order, they didn't want to play Joy Division
no,
music at all? Yeah.
no.
Is that because, well, there's various reasons I could speculate. It could be maybe because obviously the two bands sound very different. You know, there's a thread between them, but they sound different, or because it could have been painful to revisit that music. What was their reasoning?
It was a little bit odder than that. We did play a Joy Division set once when I threatened to play a Joy Division set with some friends. Suddenly, the other members of New Order decided it'd be better if we did it as New Order, which we did for the cancer benefit. God, I can't remember when it was now, 2006, 2009 or something, in Manchester. And we played a set of Joy Division songs, which went down great. And it was great to play them. Oh my God, it was wonderful again to be able to play them. And then we repeated that when we did a New Order gig at Wembley. I can't remember where in Wembley, Wembley Arena or something. And Barney decided he didn't like it. He said it was miserable. I'd rather do New Order. And I sort of get it in the way that he's singing it. And maybe he prefers to sing his own words. Well, not his own words, but words that we'd written as New Order, as opposed to harking back to Joy Division. So
Mhm.
that was the last time we ever played it. And the thing is that while you were together in the group, focusing on New Order, it was okay. You're right, Ned. The dog's just come to say hello. While All right, he's gone now. While you were together in New Order, that was okay, yeah, because you were focused on moving forward and doing everything else to do with New Order. When New Order split up in 2007, and it came to the 30th anniversary of Ian's life, Joy Division was huge all around the world. And I just thought, oh my God, you know, we'd never celebrated any anniversary of Joy Division ever.
Really?
Nothing.
Wow.
Never. As us three, you know. And I just thought, I'm not letting this one go. And I had a chat with a few friends and tried to figure out a way. I didn't want to pretend to be the band. You know, Joy Division on live were so much different to what they were on record. I don't
Mm.
like people who pretend to be the band with hardly any members or the wrong intentions or attitude. Hence, New Order. I think it's a crime to your fans. So the thing is that I thought, how can I celebrate it? So I read an interview with Bobby Gillespie. And Bobby Gillespie was talking about Screamadelica. And he was saying that he wanted to play all the songs on Screamadelica because he felt that as a group, they ignored what he thinks now were the best ones.
Mm.
So I'm going to play them all. And I thought, wow, you know, in Joy Division's case, Martin Hannett, the producer, made such a difference to the music, such a difference to the band. He almost turned us into a different band on record. Live, we were much punkier. When
Mm.
Barney played synth, there was no guitar. When he played guitar, there was no synth. So we were a lot different as a live band compared to the record. Now, most people in the world have only heard the record. So it made sense to me to celebrate the record, which is what I did and what I do, and then what I went on to do with New Order. New Odor, in my opinion, don't sound like New Order. And I'm happy about that in a way. No, that makes me happy. It doesn't make
Be-
the fans happy, but it makes me happy. So the thing is that you can't pretend to be something that you're not. It's wrong. So the thing is that I'm able to celebrate the LPs in the way that we used to be, if you like, which is where I was happiest. So yeah, so it's nice for me to be able to do that with Joy Division and New Order. And the funny thing is that the fans are very different. But doing this tour of Substance Joy Division, which is such a different record to Substance New Order, because Substance New Order is like a collection of commercial hits that were never on LPs, most of 95% of them. Joy Division was like a different kind. It has an intensity, Joy Division, a musical intensity that New Order is different from. Now, the interesting thing is that when we play them together, as we are doing now, the Joy Division fans are subject to New Order, and the New Order fans are subject to Joy Division. And in some ways, as I say to Potsy and the lads all the time, I sort of expect an exodus, because there are certain places where New Order are more popular than Joy Division to some people. So us playing them together can be a bit challenging, shall we say, for certain fans, you know. So, but it's nice, and I think the thing is that I think we've opened up our audience, because we've made the New Order fans listen to Joy Division by choice, of course. We don't lock them in, and we've made the Joy Division fans listen to New Order. So now, when we play them both, there's not much movement in the audience. You know, you don't get half the audience going to the bar when you play New Order, or vice versa. It's like, it just feels like a normal thing. So I suppose in a funny way, we've actually helped an appreciation for both groups. So yeah, I'm very happy.
It's interesting to me because you're talking about how Joy Division, you know, and New Order sound different and obviously have different audiences. There's overlap, but they have different audiences. Because when you were nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame last year, it was both bands together. In my opinion, both bands are worthy of being inducted separately. But it was both bands together, which I actually like don't know if the hall has ever done that, where they've like taken, you know, I mean, obviously it's a unique situation with you guys. How did you feel about the fact that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame put Joy Division / New Order as one thing on the ballot? I actually thought
Well,
it
I
was
mean,
going to help your chances because it would be like both
yeah,
band groups voting.
I think that the interesting thing that I noticed was that New Odor didn't do much promotion for it. And I'd surely like not to think that that's because we didn't want to have a row on stage accepting the award the way that Blondie did. Which I thought was fabulous. If you were going to wait for a beef to be aired, yeah, what a great place to do it, like that guy in Blondie did. So the thing is that I have a sneaking suspicion that the others weren't interested because they thought that we might have to meet.
And play together, was that ever something on the table, like even hypothetically, should you have
No,
gotten it?
no. I mean, to be honest with you, the way that those bastards have treated me, I would never, ever. I'd be loath to share a room with them. Never mind a stage. Never.
Oh, wow. I
No.
mean, it does remind me a little bit of The Cure, who, you know, your peers, The Cure from same era that got in, you know, and very much deserve to get in, because there's been, I don't even know how many members of The Cure, but 10 people were got in, and there were kind of two different versions of The Cure. They all got on stage for the speech, although Robert Smith's the only one that gave the speech, but like only the current lineup of the band performed, and I think they even sat at different tables and they like walked the red carpet separately
Yeah,
together.
I mean, oh my God, how many times have we seen this behavior? We see it nearly with every group. That wonderful match of chemistry, ego, money, fame is a very, very toxic cocktail. And the thing is that my problems with the other members, when, in my opinion, they took the name without my blessing and without me knowing. in many, yeah, without me knowing. They took it without asking me, or and valued it themselves. So every time New Order earn $1, I get 1 cent, which I don't think personally is enough.
I mean,
And
you were
I would
so
fight
crucial
that
to the
to my
sound.
dying day. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you were so crucial to the sound of the band. That's like
Mm-hmm.
kind of strange to me.
But
So,
that's life, isn't it? You know, and we have to we have to get on with it. One thing I noticed as I got older is that life is short, and to do things like this while you're in it, there's actually no need. You can get together, you can sort things out, you can do it. So everybody in law, they have to say that everybody in a settlement has to be unhappy. It's like a divorce of a marriage. You know, for if one side's happy, then the other side's guaranteed not to be. You know, so the thing is that the way that lawyers always want a settlement is when both sides are unhappy. And on this occasion, they were very happy, and I was very unhappy. So yeah, it still needs, in my opinion, balancing out. So
well, there'd be some people in your position, given all the stuff that's gone on, who maybe would completely disavow the material, unlike you, who's playing all this material with Peter Hook and the like, and done like more than 600 gigs of it over the past 14 years. There might be
800,
some people, 800.
800,
Okay.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I was looking probably at an old press release or something.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, my point is tons of gigs
Mm-hmm.
over the course of many more years than Joy Division were ever together, or
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
even more years than you were with
New
New
Order ever
Order.
played, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
So,
it's quite strange actually for a group like with the members of me and the other three. We've actually played more in our 50s and 60s than we ever did 20s, 30s, 40s, which is absolutely weird. It's really odd. Yeah, you know, we as a band, New Order really stepped back from playing in the mid 90s. We actually split up in 93, got together again, you know, 96 or whatever it was, 98. So yeah, I mean, it's a weird one, but as my wife and my therapist keep telling me, my wife is my best therapist. You've got to, you know, you've got to work with the hand you've got. And I think that, you know, it's that funny thing, isn't it? I get such satisfaction from being free of them and being allowed to play all the back catalogue. You know, my aim when I started in 2010 was to play every song that Joy Division ever wrote and recorded, which I have done. My next aim is to play every song that New Order have written and recorded. So, and I'm very well up on that. Next year, I will be playing Get Ready in its entirety.
oh,
And
that's so cool.
also Total, which is the other collection of New Order. I'm going to play those two together, which is great. So I'm still on the way, you know, with doing these songs that most of them, and I couldn't believe it at the time. I didn't understand why we wouldn't play them. I mean, there were a multitude of reasons, but I just couldn't believe that a song like Age Consent, New Order hadn't played it for 25 years.
It's one of my favorites, actually.
What?
I actually think that might have been the first New Order song I ever heard because MTV played it very early
Yes.
on, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. And we had the cover version, didn't we, on oh God, the film. Oh God.
It's all
The
good.
guys that did the MTV spoof, that film where they had the festival. It was one had glasses on, and the other one was the Canadian guy who did Austin Powers.
Okay. Yes. Yes, I know what you're talking about. My mind's going blank too. Actually, my first song that I heard by New Order, I believe, was actually Confusion because
All
MTV
right, okay.
embraced that one. I
Interesting.
correct myself.
Confusion always, when we're playing Substance, confusion is always in the wrong place, because it's actually, we did it very early on with Arthur in 1982 or 83. And the next song after that was Thieves Like Us, which is very New Order, and Perfect Kiss, whereas Confusion actually sticks out. Confusion would be better further on when we
Yeah.
became more dancey and more electronic. Yeah, so it's quite interesting. Confusion was, yeah, it was a hell of a song to write, Confusion. And
Confusion
I
and Perfect Kiss, I believe, were like the ones that MTV got on early, and I think those might have been
yes,
my
yeah.
first exposure to New
Mhm.
Order. And you know, a little embarrassing to say that you know, but just by virtue of that, I definitely discovered New Order first. And
Yeah, and you know
I'm sure
what?
that's the case of a
Is
lot of people of a certain
Yeah,
age,
it's
and then
absolutely
backtrack.
fantastic that some people, go backwards and do it. Yeah, it's great. I mean, America was a huge market for New Order. We were playing 25,000 people in America at outdoor, those big outdoor
Mhm.
venues that they used to have. I don't know if they still have them, Irvine Meadows and places like that.
Yeah, I was there, particularly in Los
Oh,
Angeles because of K-Rock. You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you were pretty much the
K-Rock was,
house.
oh my God, the support we got from K-Rock was unbelievable. I remember
Yeah.
the first interview I did with them was in his dad's shed, the guy who started K-Rock, and then the next minute, they're absolutely huge. So that, yeah, great supporter. But America was always a wonderful place for us to play, and we actually concentrated on America to the detriment of everywhere else in the world. Probably the only other place we gave as much credence to was Australia. And
Oh,
the reason was because we felt that the audiences were better. They were more, they danced more. It was 50-50 male and female, which was different to Europe and England.
mm.
And yeah, it was a much better time. It was a much better vibe with the audiences in America very early.
USA.
Yeah, yeah.
USA.
I mean, I was just saying that we did our first American tour of of in 1980, in the fall of 1980. And Ian only passed in May.
Wow.
So we got to you lot very quickly and actually kept it up because we love the place and we love the people, and it was as simple as that. So I know where there's four very excitable boys that are dying to join me on our next trip, which begins in August. They're literally counting down the weeks, to get there. So yeah, it's great. It still is a very exciting place, although my God, you have got your problems. And just like everywhere else in the world, it can be, yeah, it sometimes shocks me,
Yeah. Well,
any
England's got him
problems
too.
you all have. Yeah.
In fact, when the Brexit thing happened, and I guess it was 2016 now, ish, I think it was then. I remember that being foreshadowing that vote happening there probably was foreshadowing of how our election was going to turn out. Like same kind of
I've
mentality, you know?
Oh my God, do you know what? I can safely say that when you look at COVID and Brexit, and then you look at Trump and Boris Johnson, I have never seen anything like it in my life. The politics in England and America, Kim Jong-un and Putin must be sitting there going, oh my God, they're just going to blow it. That it's so disjointed and so untogether. It is absolutely frightening. This election in England, I'm voting for the raving monster loony party because I honestly don't think they could be worse. Lord Such, God bless him. He couldn't be worse than the bloody idiots we've got running it, Labour or Conservative. It's terrible. It's scary. And watching what's going on with you lot, with Trump and Biden, it beggars belief, doesn't it?
It's kind of crazy. And it's interesting that you said that you haven't ever witnessed anything like this before, because obviously New Order's ascent took place during a time in, during Thatcher era
Mm-hmm.
England where things weren't great then. And so,
Not from a economic point of
right.
view.
I
What
guess it
I'm
was more
talking
the
about
economic.
here is the credibility of the people who are supposed to be in charge. Margaret Thatcher had a very an unusual outlook, shall we say, on people, but there was no arguing with her, and she was very hard and very set on doing things her way. This lot seems so wishy-washy that it's very difficult to have any confidence in any of them whatsoever. But I mean, I'm lucky, right? I'm a musician. I get to come and see you lot and take your minds off it for a while.
And I
In the
thank
same
you for
way
that.
that, you know, I'm doing 2 festivals this weekend, and all we're doing is going there, having a great time, playing some great music, and trying to make people realize that, you know, life's about this. It's just something that is about something that we have to put up with, so that we have a life like this. So I'm very happy to be joining you. I really am. I'm really looking forward to it. We just had a wonderful tour of Australia and New Zealand doing Substance and had a great time. So yeah, I'm all chomping at the bit.
As am I, and thank you for your service. It's
Oh
very
my
needed.
God. I'll tell you what, it has been a pleasure.
I I'm curious because you were talking a little bit about how at one time there were different it's changing a little bit, but there's still different audiences for Joy Division and New
Mhm.
Order and different camps or whatever. Have you noticed there are different camps like with what you call New Odor and Peter Hook and the like, where there's people taking sides of that, like kind of like
Yeah, I mean, it always makes me laugh though, because the big fans of New Order stroke New Odor, both incarnations, are called the Vikings, which was my nickname. Everybody called me the Viking because of my long hair and my motorcycle boots and the way I played guitar, you know, wielding it like an axe. And yeah, it just makes me laugh that we used to play the Vikings theme tune. It was a film with Kirk Douglas a long time ago, and we used to play it. I play it now, even
hmm.
now, but the others won't play it, of course. But the Vikings still follow them, the lousy bastards. It just shows you, doesn't it? And yeah, but I mean, you know, it again. I have to remember that this what we do is about taking people's minds somewhere nice
Hmm.
for an hour and a half, or in my case, 3 hours. Me and Bruce will take you for 3 hours. So
I just
yeah,
wondered, I sorry to interrupt, I just wonder if there's people who choose sides like
yeah, they are.
the example I'm trying to think of is maybe like Gene Loves Jezebel split into two camps. There's bands
Yeah,
that
yeah,
split into
yeah.
two
I
camps, and
mean, they are, and people are critical. But I think the thing is that people were very critical. I mean, the reason I had to sing with playing Joy Division was because I had 3 vocalists lined up, and the internet, shall we say, furore scared them off. You
really,
know, trolling scared them off. Yeah, and it was Rowetta out of the Happy Mondays that said to me, Hooky, you're not going to get anyone to do this. Ian's shoes are too big. You're going to have to do it. And I was like, oh shit. And I
yeah.
must admit, for 6 months, 8 months, I was absolutely terrified. But it's been such a pleasure to sing his words and to get to know his words from a different place is what
Hmm.
I've found wonderful.
Tell me more about
I
that.
heard them. I heard them. I heard his words when he was doing them. And I looked at him, and I didn't really need to hear the words to know that he meant it. And what he was saying was passionate, it was educated, and it was intense. He meant every single syllable of every time he opened his mouth, you know. So the thing is that for me to get that confidence and be able to learn to project, shall we say, was, I mean, you know, I thought I was a bass player. I thought I was a musician. Then all of a sudden you put in somebody else's shoes and you're realizing, shit, this is a little bit on the difficult side. It actually made me sympathetic towards lead singers, which I never thought I would be. Believe you me, I never thought that that could possibly happen. But yeah, and I must admit, when I moved into New Order, I found Bernard's shoes were a lot easier to fill, shall we say, than Ian's, because Steve, Bernard, and I wrote the vocal lines and the words together all the way up to and including technique. So you were a third of the way there, if you like, before you'd even started. So that was, and just as enjoyable. You know, there were certain aspects of New Order's music and certain songs that I hated. And then when I came to sing them, because I had to, because I was playing the LPs in full, I found that in many ways, I actually preferred them to others. And I was
Which
like, wow.
which were the ones that you initially hated that you
Well,
changed
it
your
was
mind about?
mainly Republic. because Republic was so fractured and such a toxic atmosphere while we were recording it between ourselves that I really could not look at the music favorably. I mean, Stephen Hague, the producer, had a hell of a job, you know, to get us to finish it, never mind. And, you know, the thing is that he brought me in at the end to put the bass on when everything else had been recorded. Steve and Gillian's parts had all but disappeared along with my own. But Stephen Hague managed to bring me in at the end and redo it. So they'd never been finished off by the group. So it was wonderful to be able to play the record, finish it off, play it properly, and then I found a love for that record. It's like the, you know, the electronic side of Brotherhood. I always felt that it's Barney pushing us too much another way. And then when I came to sing them and transcribe them for the record to play them, I thought, you know what? They're fucking great. It's like, you dickhead. But, you know, as my daughter keeps telling me, if you make a mistake, you have to own it. Own it, Dad, she says to me. Own it. So God bless her, Jess. Thank you for that. You know, so yeah, so that's it. And I find, and I'll probably Get Ready is a different kind of LP because Barney and I wrote it more or less on our own. Steve and Gillian didn't really have that much to do with that record. They got a bit of publishing, but you know, most of it was done by me and him. It was our big get together, shall we say? You know, it's like that. What do they call it? Like a reunion.
Yeah.
My wife thought it was like another marriage. It didn't last long though. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to doing Waiting for the Sirens Call because I think that that's got some great songs on it, and I also think that Lost Sirens has. So yeah, I mean, I'm good. I'm excited about all these things that I'm doing. I'm also working on a lot of new music with people. I've got a lot of things coming up. It's just a matter of fitting them in.
What can you tell me about
it's all good. It really is all good. I have to thank my wife. It is like an award ceremony, isn't it? I'd like to thank my wife for looking after me and saving my life, and my daughter for being very much like my wife.
What can you tell me about the new music you're working on?
I did 2 tracks with Wolfgang Fleur from Kraftwerk. I did another track with the Rusty Egan, who used to be in Rich Kids, with Glenn Matlock. He was also in
Visage, right? Was he in Visage?
Yes, he was in Visage. Yeah, so I've done a couple of tracks with him, which has been great. It's different, you know. I miss that aspect of being in a group. I miss that aspect of working towards your next thing, and you know, tour LP. I do miss that because obviously I'm alone. But no, I do. I also have an outfit called Man Ray with my very good friend of mine, Phil Murphy. We make a lot of music for that. We do a lot of charity stuff with that one and really wacky stuff. And I keep meaning to put it on Spotify. It is like some of it is on Spotify, but most of it isn't. So I've just employed my godson, actually, who's called Oscar Boone and is now a bass player with the Spiral Carpets. Yeah, and you know, with his dad, Clint. So I've just employed him to get me a new Spotify page so I can put all this solo stuff up. So at least I can look at it and go, oh my God, look at that, you know, because it is a funny question, isn't it? You know, it's like, it's very important as a musician. Rob Gretton, our manager, always used to say to us, your best song is your next one. So get on with it. That was his mantra. The next song is the best song is the next one. Get on with it. And I still feel that, you know, when I don't write or play on anything new. I've just, funnily enough, me and my keyboard player, Martin Rebelski, we've done a track together, which I've now got to go and hold myself in and do the vocal for.
I think I know who I've met him before. Wasn't he in Doves or played with Doves?
Yes, he plays keyboards in Dubs, and he also does Echo and the Bunnymen for his sins. Yeah, he's a keyboard player in Echo and the Bunnymen as well. So yeah, I've got a lot on the go. In fact, I better get off.
Do I need to let you go?
I'm afraid you need to let me go.
I have so many other questions. I guess can I ask one more before I let you go?
Of course you can, yeah.
God, I'm stumped. I'm like, I gotta ask one more question. Well, the thing about I guess I'll end with the whole Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing, because
Yeah.
I'm a voter on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I voted for Joy Division / New Order, as
Mhm.
one thing on the ballot. I did, like I said, I kind of thought maybe the fact that unusually you were both on the ballot together would
Mhm.
maybe kind of compound the votes. Like, I was actually pretty shocked given the fact that in recent years, first The Cure and then Depeche Mode and then Eurythmics and Duran Duran, which I'm not saying are exactly like, but they're kind of all the
Mhm.
same era. They're all
Yeah, yeah,
British,
yeah.
British invasion, post-punk bands. I was shocked that you guys didn't get in. There's so much
Yeah,
love
and
for
I
both
mean, I
bands.
have to say that in my opinion, it's because the others didn't get behind the vote. That's why. It was hardly pushed at all. I mean, we've got 3 million people on the Joy Division Facebook. We've got 2 million on the New Order Facebook. And it was hardly pushed. It really wasn't. And I'm not in control of those. They're in control of those. So I couldn't push it. We pushed it on Peter Hook and the Light as best we could, but it didn't happen. So, yeah, I mean, it's the best thing for me, right? I've been to the Hall of Fame. And my friend has a full New Order section there.
Oh,
And that's fine for me. I'm happy. I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I'm really happy that all I see around me is a load of smiling faces. It's as simple as that. Yeah. Isn't it
last
funny?
last question. I know I need to let you go, but
Go on.
when you talk about how you kind of miss being in a band or whatever, what is this thing about how you almost joined the Rolling Stones once or were asked
I
about it?
was fifth in line for the Rolling Stones.
Fifth, do you
And
know who was
Doug
one through
Wim,
four?
is it Doug Wimbush who plays for them? Um, he told me he was fourth and he got it. And I was delighted
Oh.
because I'm tone deaf, right? If Mick Jagger put a gun to my head and said, play Satisfaction, I couldn't play it. I'm tone deaf. I can't pick up other people's music. I have enough trouble picking up my own when I've written it. So I couldn't do that job. What my son does in the Smashing Pumpkins is completely alien to me because I couldn't play somebody else's bass parts. I never have. I got invited to join Killing Joke and I couldn't do it because I said, I can't play those bass parts. It's not in me. I can't even pick them out, you know. It's just, yeah. As my mother said, you couldn't carry a tune in a bucket, Peter. And really, she was half right.
Well, only half
So
right because it's
my son can do it. My son can listen to a Smashing Pumpkins song. He can learn the bass and then go and play with Billy Corgan. I couldn't do that if you bloody yeah, like I said, put a gun to my head.
that's
I just
probably why
can't.
your it's probably why your style is so distinctive then. There's no one who
Yes.
plays bass like
Yeah,
you.
maybe. Yeah. I just can't do it. I remember Jazz and Geordie sitting me down and asking me to join when they fell out with Youth. And I said, lads, I love you to death, but I cannot do it. I can't do it.
In Killing Joe.
And Killing Joe, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't do it. And they thought they took the ump. They thought I was being horrible, that I didn't like the music. I love the music. I love Killing Joe. Geordie's my favorite guitarist ever, you know. So yeah, I mean, it's a weird thing that I'm just me. I
That's all you
can't
need to
do it.
be. That's all you need
Yeah,
to
and
be.
yet
It
my
seems to be
son
working out.
can do me. He can play like me perfectly, and then go and play like the Smashing Pumpkins, which is a completely different style. Yeah, he's a clever little bugger. He really is. Yeah,
Well, obviously
good
so
gene.
well, yeah, obviously good genes. I mean, you do you. That's all you need to be.
I
You're Peter
know.
Hook.
That's all I'm going to do. And now I'm definitely going to have to leave you now. I'm so sorry.
Okay. I
It was
appreciate
so
all
nice
the time.
talking to you. And please come and say hello.